Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
And the time is now 12 hours 1 in Guyana, and you're listening to Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
This is your news at noon. In your headlines, given Guyanese lack of capacity, American group and Trinidad and Tobago firms take over Exxon's multi-million-dollar waste management contracts. AG flags breaches in procedures at Amerindian Affairs Ministry. $22 million land cruisers purchased for villages still to be handed over. And Article 13 defends Yog Mahadio against attacks and insists new grouping has no political affiliation. Meanwhile, pilot abandons plan to re-establish Guyana Airways, says APNUFC, and the PPPC frustrated his efforts. Get the full details of these stories and more after the break.
Guyana, join me on the Glenn Lal Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Glenn Lal Show only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
And now for the news in detail. In light of the fact that there is a limited number of Guyanese service providers and hazardous and non-hazardous waste management, Tiger Rentals, a US-based energy rental and service company with its subsidiaries in Guyana and Trinidad, have been dominating the majority of ExxonMobil's multi-million-dollar waste management contracts. Also getting a piece of the pie are 5 Trinidadian firms. This is outlined in ExxonMobil's comprehensive waste management plan submitted to Guyana's EPA last year. The document was prepared by the American multinational in keeping with the requirements of the Payara environmental permit that demanded same to be done. According to the document, wastes received from offshore are managed at Tiger Rentals Guyana and Sustainable Environmental Solutions Guyana Inc., which was formed in 2020 by the Guyana Shore Base Inc. after being awarded a long-term contract by ExxonMobil.
And we now tell you that the Auditor General in his 2020 report has found several breaches in procedures regarding the purchase of items and the subsequent handing over by the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs under the watch of its former Permanent Secretary Sharon Hicks, who was recently charged on allegations of corruption. The AG Deodat Sharma found that purchases totaling in excess of $32 million were made. However, he was uncertain if the items bought were of benefit to the respective communities, since at the time of the audit it was unclear whether the items were delivered or put to use. He said in one instance some $22 million was expended for the purchase of 2 Toyota Land Cruisers for 2 villages in Region 9. However, at the time of reporting in September 2021, the vehicles were still in the ministry's compound and were not handed over to the villages.
And now let's tell you, new civil society group Article 13 has come out against the attacks on one of its founders, Dr. Yog Mahadio, and again insisted that the organization has no political affiliation. In a statement on Sunday, Article 13 said its members have observed the sustained attacks on Dr. Yog Mahadio ever since the announcement of the establishment of the group. According to Article 13, Dr. Mahadio has been accused of lobbying for a position in the diplomatic service, for government contracts for a business run by him and his wife, and of being a whistleblower. While his photograph has accompanied an article, that Article 13 is in receipt of money from Trinidad companies to finance a legal challenge to the Local Content Act. The only objective of these false and mischievous statements is to discredit Yog so that the work he is doing as part of Article 13 is compromised.
Moving on, the CEO of Guyana Airways Incorporated, Dr. Colin Abrams, has announced on Sunday that he has abandoned plans to re-establish the airline here, saying he has not received the required cooperation from both the APNU AFC and PPPC administrations. The CEO said that only companies or individuals with credible offers would be considered. Back in 2018, a local court had ruled that the startup airline can use the name Guyana Airways Corporation. That name used to be the one that the state-owned entity was operating under until it went bankrupt in 2001. The CEO and chief pilot attempted to start up Guyana Airways Corporation Inc., but the process was stymied after the deeds registry struck off the name. Abrams, through his lawyer, took the matter to the High Court, and Justice Fidela Corbin reportedly ruled that the Registrar of Companies did not follow procedures in refusing to register the new company. Abrams had said that the name Guyana Airways Corporation Inc. was chosen because it was available with no national airline in Guyana for 18 years.
And moving on, ahead of Friday's state visit here by Brazil President Jair Bolsonaro, the Guyana Human Rights Association, or GHRA, says the government should use the opportunity at the upcoming meeting to rehabilitate its tattered credibility on climate issues by distinguishing its Amazonia policies from the Brazil leader's scorched earth approach. Bolsonaro is due here on Friday, and at a recent preparatory meeting, President Ali listed energy, food security, telecommunication, infrastructure integration, and trade as some of the issues he would like to discuss with his Brazilian counterpart. President Ali also wants to discuss the possibility of Brazil assisting with the development of Guyana's bauxite industry and increasing their quota for rice exports under a partial scope agreement. The time has now moved on to 12 hours 8. You listen to Kaieteur Radio. We will return with more news after the break.
Nothing in life is free, but the MyDigiCell app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance, activate a Prime bundle, or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burpees Bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the MyDigiCell app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
This is GHK Lal, inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
And now back with more news in detail. Guyana recorded 1,082 new COVID-19 cases on Sunday, and the Ministry of Health also reported 9 more deaths, with 5 persons fully vaccinated, 2 of whom are children. While the country has been recording a high number of new cases per day, in just 1 week, 4 children under the age of 7 have lost their lives to COVID-19. This is according to data provided by the Ministry of Health. Since the beginning of the month, over 30 persons have died from the virus, 4 of whom are children, 2 boys and 2 girls, and who died between January 9th and January 14th. On Sunday, the ministry reported 9 new COVID-19 related deaths, among them 2 children. Meanwhile, with 1,095 deaths recorded to date, the Health Ministry on Sunday reported that within the last 24-hour period, it recorded 1,082 new COVID-19 infections, taking the total number of confirmed cases to 51,203.
In other news, Inspector Prem Narain has filed legal proceedings against Rickford Burke in his personal capacity as the president of Caribbean Guyana Institute of Democracy, seeking over $5 million in libel damages, among other things. Through his lawyers Sanjeev Dattadin and Donovan Ramjia, the policeman filed the legal proceedings in the High Court against Burke. Narayan approached the court for permission to serve the legal proceedings on Burke, who is out of the jurisdiction. After the court heard Narayan's lawyer's submissions, the court ruled and permitted Narayan to serve the documents on Burke.
Moving on, we now tell you that a fire of unknown origin destroyed a two-storied wood and concrete house at Maida Farm, Quarantine, Berbice, Sunday morning. The fire occurred around 8 hours 45, and the house is owned by Asif Mohammed, a 47-year-old vendor at the New Amsterdam market who was not at home at the time. When his wife had called him, saying the house was on fire, he said he ventured back home only to find the entire building consumed by the blaze. He added that he was informed that the fire began in the upper flat in a room where the fuse box is located. The Guyana Fire Service is conducting an investigation to determine the cause of the fire.
In other news, President Ali has promised to install cameras and deploy policemen to safeguard areas that have been cleared of garbage during the two-day cleaning exercise in Georgetown. The president made the commitment on Saturday when he kicked off a two-day cleanup of the city. The Guyanese leaders said that the multi-stakeholder cleanup campaign of Georgetown will help to create a more family-oriented city. The president said that one of the aims of the massive cleanup campaign is to create a city where families can find a safe zone in which we can build not only the relationship within families, but relationships within communities.
And we now tell you that well-known businessman and chairman of DDL, 93-year-old Mr. Yesu Prasad, passed away earlier this morning. It is understood that Mr. Prasad has been ill for some time. Known for his philanthropic work and a master entrepreneur, Mr. Prasad was also no stranger to speaking out on national issues. President Ali remarked that Guyana has lost a true son of the soil.
An early morning fire of unknown origins today gutted the shipping bond section at Leparkin, located at Lombard Street, Georgetown. According to reports, the fire may have started in a section of the wharf facilities. More details to follow. The time is now 12 hours 13. Before we come to the end of your news at noon, let's head over to page 7 of the Kaieteur News. Do you remember the days when people took pride in sharing with each other, not for publicity, but just because they had excess and wanted to share? If you don't remember those days, then you're probably too young or just part of the problem in our society. Food for thought. Wouldn't it be nice if people could be selfless again? And with that, we've come to the end of today's news at noon. I'm Kevin Smith.
And I'm Amrita Koshal.
Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
And breaking news just in, opposition member of parliament Sherrod Duncan was moments ago placed on $200,000 bail for allegedly referring to the IT manager of the Guyana Elections Commission as a jagabat and trench croppo. Duncan appeared in the Diamond Grove Magistrates Court before Principal Magistrate Judy Latchman in the company of a battery of lawyers. He denied the charge, which stated that on January 11, 2022, without legal or lawful justification or excuse, he used a computer system to publish electronic data about Anil Giddings with the intent to humiliate, embarrass, and to cause emotional distress. Bail was first granted in the sum of $275,000, but was later reduced by the magistrate. The matter is adjourned to February 10, 2022.